Diamond cut media.
All right, hello everyone. It's Tion Bacody back with another Diamond Cut Media interview of First Things First. We're here with Monika J or Monika Jack. You guys might have seen her before. If you haven't, let me give you a little rundown. She's a well-renowned she's a well-renowned model. You might have seen her at Victoria's Secret. She's worked a lot with Victoria's Secret, a lot of other global brands, and now she's transitioning into the world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And she has a film, White Belt, which is a biography, correct?
That's right, yeah. It follows my
Detailing,
journey, but yeah, it's more biography than anything. That's right.
right, detailing her journey from supermodel to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu, that's it, right?
You too. You got it.
There we go. There we go. It's hard. It's hard. Try to say that three times fast. That's hard. But yes, so welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course, of course. So we got to get into it because, like I said, most people know you for modeling or you've been doing that all your life. You got into modeling around 13.
Yeah, I was very young. I was a teenager. That's right.
And as soon as you got in, you found like you were successful with it, correct?
That's right. I signed with an agency in Poland at 13, and basically 2 weeks after I signed with my local agency, what's called scouts, people who are looking from bigger agencies come to smaller countries and look for girls that could make it bigger in the fashion world. So they scouted me and signed me up in the international agency that I've been working for over 10 years after that. So yeah, it went fast for me.
Okay, nice. And you're from Poland. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, right?
That's right. I'm from a small town in Poland called Puszczykowo. It's 10,000 people. So yes, small town in Poland.
Nice. And is like supermodeling, is that something that's big out there? Or is a lot of people trying to put their kids into it? Or were you like the first of the first?
No, it's not. I think now, I mean, now modeling is like, what do we even call it? Everybody's kind of a model now, having Instagram. So that changed a lot, of what modeling is, from the time I started. Back almost 20 years ago, when I started, it was not something that was very common. And also it did not come from my parents. Actually, that was my idea to start modeling. So it was a bit of an odd idea that a 13-year-old had in a small town.
Okay, so what do you remember most about that time, like transitioning, becoming a model or getting into modeling, then eventually, taking it global? Like, what do you remember most about that time?
I remember it being overwhelming, and a totally new world to me and my parents too. I've never traveled outside of my country, neither have my parents. So to be on an airplane for the first time with my mom going to Japan for traveling for like 14 hours from Poland, was crazy. And then being lost in translation for the first 2 years, first in Japan, then Singapore, and then Paris, Milan, and New York. I thought it's just going to be a quick adventure, but ended up being a pretty much a lifelong journey for me.
Right, and like you said, you thought it would be quick, but it turned into like a lifelong journey. So, do you feel like looking back on it, like that you fully understood what was going to happen or how that would change your life?
No, I don't think I did. And to be honest, I think that's what the film is also about, is that I, you know, I wasn't really conscious. I wasn't really aware that the decision that I made at 13 would take me all the way to where I'm right now, that I will end up living in US, living in New York, and pursuing this life. So no, that was never a plan. I was always told that this can last a year or two, not 20 years.
Right, and you've been doing this for 20 years. So, at what point did modeling, stop feeling like this is something that I'm trying to pursue and this is something that I really do? Because, like, when did you start working with some of the biggest like fashion houses in the world?
I started working pretty much right away with big names, so I was very lucky. I did do a couple of the trips to Asia to kind of get some experience, but soon after things started to take off, and I did some exclusive shows for Calvin Klein, and then later did my contract with Chanel Beauty, and then in my 20s I moved into more commercial world, which was Victoria's Secret.
Did you always have a love for jujitsu?
No, the jiu-jitsu world kind of came into our life in 2024. This is also the year that I turned 30, and my daughter, who was at the time 4.5, 5 years old, was the one who started taking kids classes for jiu-jitsu. And I ended up spending more time in that environment of that sport. And I was craving to do something for myself that was outside of modeling and all of the things that I already know and all the success that I achieved there. So that was seemed like a place that would be very uncomfortable for me. And I needed that challenge and I needed to have something that's mine. So that's how it started. I planned to train for 8 months and go into world championships in Las Vegas.
Wow, congrats, congrats. And I was gonna ask, how was it? Because like you come from modeling and everything is about your image, your presentation, and then you jump into a world of combat sports and everything is more grit and grind, everybody getting it out of the mud. So how was it entering that space?
Um, It's actually funny because you asked me earlier how it was to enter the fashion world at 13. I felt like even though I was, way older and in my already grown up life, being a mom and all the other things, entering jiu-jitsu kind of felt similar. Of like, that's why, the title white belt and the new beginning, how it all aligns. I needed something fresh. I needed something new where I can kind of reclaim my old power and power of making my own decisions because a big part of my life was other people making decisions for me within the fashion industry, my agents, casting directors, clients, and I basically was just kind of pulled by my hand, jumping on airplanes and doing different jobs. Yeah, I needed to sort of look. That's what white belt's all about, of trying something new and completing it and reclaiming that power of I can do this.
Right? And you spoke about how the title white belt kind of means like a new beginning. So starting off again, going from the top of your sport to being a beginner, was that difficult emotionally, or was it like, like you just up for the challenge?
Uh, it was fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was very fun. I really enjoy all the people that I met while training, and I'm still friends with many of them. So it was kind of like going back to school where you like make friends doing the same hobbies and kind of sitting together in your by your desk. It's such an intimate sport too. So you really have to make this relationship and trust the other person in a combat. But I loved all of it. And the fact that we filmed it and the fact that I don't think I was fully aware that what I was really doing, why I did this journey. But while we were filming, while we were making all the interviews, and I started talking about my past and what I want from the future, it all kind of came together. So I think the white belt film is it's almost like my own therapy of coming to the conclusions of why I'm doing this.
Okay, nice. And this one is a two-in-one question. So what has jujitsu revealed about you that modeling never did? And what has you more nervous? Going into this fight or like a big shoot as a model?
I haven't been nervous about modeling in such a long time. It's such a comfortable place for me in last, I don't know, over 10 years, just from all the experience that I have. I actually just was on a set this morning and it feels so natural to me at this point. So definitely stepping on the mats in Las Vegas was way more difficult. And I think that's what I was craving. So I got it, that adrenaline was there.
Okay, nice. And is there anything you learned, while training for this fight that you didn't know about yourself while you were modeling?
A lot. Um, I I think the biggest lesson I took from it is that I can start from zero and complete fully. I think there's been a lot of things in my life that I started and never completed because modeling would kind of get in the way. Like you're in a school, you're doing your college, and then you get all those calls, and then you decide to quit because why would you, not take those chances that are coming your way? With jujitsu, it was really, I was very committed to the 8 months and completing it and then going into the competition. So that empowered me a lot after that, that I am actually able to, do it all.
Right, and I want to talk a little bit more about White Belt. On the film follows like a lot of personal details about your life. Was there anything you were nervous about kind of putting on camera for the first time?
Um, the film is made by my husband, who's the director of the film. So I think that's why you also get more intimate feeling from it and from my answers. Because yes, I'm explaining some of it and telling my stories, but I'm also telling it to a person who's behind the camera who knows me very well. So I don't think I will be comfortable doing it with just anybody. And maybe it wouldn't be as honest as it is. Um, but I'm very, very proud of it. When I saw the first cut, I thought, I've seen myself on a screen on the pictures many, many times in my life. But when this film, when I first saw it edited, I was like, oh my God, this is actually really me. And I'm very proud of my husband as well as our editor who put it all together.
Nice, that's amazing. So after this film, after people watch this film, people may have like their preconceived notions about models. They may think some model this is where people may think models may be arrogant, they may be stuck up. What do you want people to stop assuming about you after they see this film? Or stop assuming about models. And that's not just
I mean,
say
honestly, I don't think people should assume anything about anybody, That's the biggest mistake we make as a humans, We read them as a book and, you don't judge the book by the cover, right? I think there's many layers to all of us. And I think that's why documentary filmmaking is so beautiful. And especially these days, I think it's so needed to show that there's so much more to people, especially to people who on the outside are public figures, right? Like you can look at my Instagram and judge me from that. You can judge anybody from that for how they put themselves in public, but in reality they might be totally different. So I think we need that, we need those. That's why I'm so happy that this short film is part of Tribeca, because it really shows that people are interested in those true stories.
yes, definitely. And really, to wrap this whole thing up, I think this is one of the biggest things that, and you kind of spoke about this earlier with White Belt, just like taking over control of your narrative and kind of more control of your destiny. So, just speak about that whole concept a little bit more.
I think, I can speak about it from women's perspective, and I'm sure that men have it a little bit different than us, but I think we have so much pressure from the outside, of trying to fit into expectations that people have, especially being a public person working in entertainment or fashion. So we create those outside public personas that supposed to satisfy everybody. But I think it's worth breaking out of that and building your confidence somewhere else that's not just based on other people's opinions. And I think this was something that this film is a big proof of, that I started doing this. I started training jiu-jitsu because my confidence wasn't there. I couldn't build my confidence anymore on my job and on my achievements. I needed something outside of that. And I think that a lot of women will relate to that. I think it really is important that we do stuff for ourselves. Um, and yeah, and kind of get away from trying to be perfect and people please, which we tend to do naturally.
Great, definitely. I hope when people watch the film, they do take that away from it. And myself, I'm excited to see it. Hopefully, I can see it when it's screening during Tribeca Film Festival. Well, Monica, let the people know where they can find out a little bit more about yourself, the film and, just connect with your story.
And there's another screening on June 13th at 5:30 p.m., I believe. So please come to either say hi. We'll be there, me and my husband, the makers, and lots of wonderful creative people who are also showing their movies. Come and support.
Okay, nice. Guys, make sure you check out the film. If you're in New York, try to stop by, come to the screening for White Belt. Monica, thank you for taking the time out today to chop it up with Diamond Cut Media. As you guys know, we were at Tribeca Film Festival last year. We'll be back again this year. So, best of luck to your film, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend.
Thank you. I see you there.
All right,